Ignorance is no excuse, but this goes to, you know, we've got some people who are experts and they're saying it's fine. So why isn't that enough? And this becomes the central issue around due care and diligence, is you don't need to know everything, okay? And the last thing I want to do the last thing when we do stuff like this, I want to do is scare people and make it more difficult than what it seems. But you do have to have a basic understanding of what's going on. And you do have to have a basic understanding of the finances. Blind reliance isn't enough in terms of your legal duties.
You also take advice from someone else under the law, so you don't get an independent account.
Well, he can take it. It certainly isn't. What we don't know, again, you know, this is hazy for a reason, okay, when we look at this, when we look at the question. What do we mean when we say Kerry looks at them? Now there's an issue about whether he looks at them and whether he considers them. So if you get advice from experienced board members and the auditors and you consider it and you think about it, then you've carried out your due care and diligence. If you just look at it and you really don't even understand what's going on, then you've got a problem. Legally. The key issue here, there is a difference between getting expert advice which you can rely on and blind reliance. This is the difference that this point is trying to make. I think we may have preempted one of our questions, but that's the issue. And that's what you need to keep. You don't need to know everything, but you need to understand what you're doing. And it's not about just little non-profits. One of the classics was in the HIH Royal Commission, right? Justice Owen says, and I don't think anyone could have told me what the strategy of HIH was. HIH, one of the biggest companies that we have. And the board didn't understand how they made money, etc. Might have understood the financials, but there's some things coming around due care and diligence that you need to know. How are we travelling financially? What's our strategy? How do we operate? What do we do?
Yeah, I'd like to defend answer 2.
Yep.
Because I think that in a not-for-profit organisation, we can't expect people to have different skills, and particularly operational skills. And we don't want them to be involved with, we want them to be able to rely on, if you've got 2 qualified accountants, well, surely they have time.
I mean, the short answer to the question is, if you were to ask me what I think, I'm on boards where I know, well, I'm pretty sure this is what occurs. Okay, so it's not me because I can read the finances. I'm on boards where I'm pretty sure it occurs. This doesn't mean that you're going to get sued. What it does is it does mean that the individuals aren't meeting their expectation. As long as they know that and they're willing to accept that and know that you are relying on those 2, right? There's nothing wrong with it. So I'm not saying, again, this is the difference between how things operate and what the legal requirement actually is. And again, I would point out that it also depends upon whether the people actually read the paper. You know, you don't have to know the accounting standard treatments of various elements, etc. You know, there's a level to understanding that varies. But if I take the other point, if I be a bit of a devil's advocate, should we really have people serving and making the decisions for the organisation who don't understand the basics of the financial health of that organisation? That's a big question that I think, and I'm talking about the basics of the financial health of the organisation, rather than detailed accounting treatments.
I'm just wondering the difference between Christian and other organisations.
Yes.
I'm just wondering, do you think there's a level of naivety in many Christian boards that they are willing to trust? They sort of think that there probably isn't the possibility of fraud?
I think. Look, someone asked me a question, a similar question, fairly recently. And again, I think there might be areas where that's true, but I think you'll find that different religions have different cultures. Okay, so many try to spread authority and be very democratic. Other religions, through their structures, etc. You know, well, let me stop beating around the bush. Okay? Compare papal authority compared to, say, some of the Protestant religions that came out of the Reformation, which is a reaction to them. And that permeates the decision making. So to answer that blindly around Christians, I would say sometimes, from my experience with lots of Christian, particularly larger Christian organisations, is some organisations struggle a bit more with holding people to account for their performance. Okay, but naivety or holding people to account. Yeah. I think that there's more of a relationship between the size and complexity of the organisation than even some of these. I think you get smaller companies, whether they're for-profit or not-for-profit. You have skills gaps on the boards, you have, venture capitalists. The most sued kind of company that there are family and venture capital kinds of companies, not large, because they have different interests, etc., and they don't have a developed understanding of some of this